Hello and welcome. Let's talk tarot. In this video, we're going to talk about the 4 suits that make up a tarot deck and look at the corresponding elements that each of the suits is represented by. We'll also take a side trip down history lane to have a look at what the most popular tarot deck is in the English-speaking language and why. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We'll start with the aces, and the wands, they correspond with the element of fire, and the symbol of fire is the triangle facing upward, and its color is red. The cups are represented by the element of water, and the symbol for water is the inverted triangle, and its color is blue. The swords are represented by air, and the symbol for air is that upright triangle with a line, a straight line through about a third of the way down the triangle. And the pentacles, they are represented by the element of earth. It's the inverted triangle with a line straight through it about a third of the way up the triangle, and its color is green. So let's have another look at each of these suits and what the element brings to the suit, what aspect, what emotion, what energy. The fire element brings to the wands passion and inspiration and action. The energy of the water element representing cups, this brings forth emotions and love and healing and intuition. The suit of swords corresponding to the element of air, this brings the energy of thought, mental activity, and communication. Pentacles corresponding with the element of earth, this is all about our physicality and prosperity, material wealth, material well-being, everything that has to do with our physicality. Now let's take a look at each suit of the Minor Arcana from 1 to 10. And here we have the wands. Now, remembering the element of fire with wands, when you see wands, we know that the energy is about passion and inspiration. When wands show up in a reading, it's typically about action and doing things, making things happen, moving forward. Let's look at the cups. Represented by the water element, has to do with emotion, relation to others, love, healing, our sensitivities. Cups also represent intuition. And when cups show up in a reading, it generally has to do with relation to others or relation to self. The swords, represented by the element of air, having to do with thought, mental activity, and communication. Swords also represent anxiety, the stresses that we have in our day-to-day life. And the energy of this is thought, is our activity in our minds. And swords are very interesting. We'll talk more in detail about each of the suits as we get through the series. And looking at the pentacles from 1 to 10, this earth element brings the energy of being connected, of the physicality, basically our day-to-day lives and how we are managing our lives, how our prosperity is flowing, how our careers are going. When pentacles show up in a reading, you know that it's about the now. It's about the physical happening now. We'll go back to our aces, and we're going to add a few more aspects to each of these suits. The language of tarot is symbolism. And as we delve into the tarot and want to learn about it and what it has to offer, it's important to understand that there are layers and layers of symbology in the tarot. Now that we understand the elements that are correlated to each one of the suits in the tarot, let's add some additional aspects that bring flavor to each of the suits. So as we look at the wands again, we know that wands are represented by fire, the color red, and also by the direction south and the season of spring. And the cups, represented by water and the color blue, their direction is west and their season is summer. Swords, represented by the air element, The color is yellow. It's represented by the direction east, and its season is the fall. Pentacles are earth element, represented by the direction north, and the season is winter. If you have a tarot deck, the best way to really get to know your cards suit by suit, take one of the suits from Ace to 10 and string them together. Try to feel your way through the cards from Ace to 10 and weave together a story. What do these cards tell you now that you know their elements, their directions, their seasons? What opens up for you? And have a look at those. Do suit by suit. And I would also suggest that you take aces one at a time, one day at a time, and take that ace into your meditation or into your awareness practice for the day. Bring your thoughts together based on that ace and its elements and the energy that you feel from it, and start feeling your cards. And now for our side tour down history lane. Arthur Edward Wait lived between 1857 and 1942. Wait was a British poet and a scholarly mystic. He studied the occult, paranormal, anything esoterica. He wrote extensively about the occult and mysticism. In 1887, he was one of the founding members of a secret society that was called the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. And this was a society of people who came together to study esoterica, to study metaphysics, the paranormal, occult. In 1910, Arthur Edward Wait wrote a book called The Pictorial Key to the Tarot. Wait enlisted the help of Pamela Colman Smith, a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, an artist and a mystic in her own right. He enlisted her to illustrate the book and to illustrate the tarot deck. Now, this is fascinating because it's the first time in history that the Minor Arcana were illustrated rather than being shown as their suit and the number. Here are some examples of original tarot decks that are still in existence from the 14th century. You can see that the suit cards are only represented by the suit and the number that represents the card. Coleman Smith and A.E. Wait, through all of their scholarly study and all of the time and effort they had put into their studies, they brought together the most original symbology that they could possibly find to represent the tarot. And it was the first deck ever that the Minor Arcana were illustrated card by card. The book and the cards were published by a company called Rider and Sons in England in 1911. Hence, we have the most popular tarot deck in the English-speaking countries, the Rider Wait Coleman Smith pack. And I've chosen to use this pack for this series, Let's Talk Tarot, not only because it's so widely used, but the symbolism is there. And like I said earlier, layer after layer after layer, decades of studying the tarot, I still receive ahas. And that's what I'm so happy to be able to share with you. Please, if you like this content, hit the thumbs up button for me and subscribe. Share with your friends. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.